Alright, so I literally just got CTI, uh, and basically I'm gonna be making a whole guide as to how you can beat the boss and all that. And I will be showing separate clips as to what this entire boss has in terms of attacks and all that, and yeah, pretty much it'll be a whole guide as to what attacks he has and how you can dodge him and all that sort of good stuff. Alright. Admin spawn, by the way. Alright, let's begin. So I done it. I've done it. I've gotten Corrupt True Insanity, and I finally got the reworked version. I had the normal version, but I got the reworked version out of nowhere today, and I've decided to make a whole guide dedicated to the boss because a lot of people overestimate the boss, and if if I have to be honest, I've seen more people fail at the pre-reworked CTI rather than the newly reworked CTI, and honestly, it's insane. Anywho, let's not talk too much. This will be a guide as to how you can beat the boss and all that, as I've previously mentioned in the intro. And basically, let's start with the first phase. As of right now, it's gonna be short. The first phase includes, I guess you could say, 3 attacks. Canonically, one's a passive that stays throughout the whole boss, but we'll get to that. Alright, so the first attack, the axe slashes. I'll set a clip right over there. The axe slashes are actually the main problem with the whole boss. That attack stays throughout the entire boss, and that's the one attack that's going to give you the most trouble out of all of the attacks the boss provides. And uh, I would say, like, if you were to get used to this attack move, then you could pretty much no death the entire boss, which is an amazing feat, and it gives you a reward in the game as well. But that's the first attack, the axe slashes. The way you can dodge them is just by moving left or right, or by standing near the edge of the map. I don't have a separate clip of that, but I'm pretty sure you could pretty much guess as to what I mean by the edge of the map. Just stand near the invisible walls that are in the map, near the map, or whatever the hell. And, and just stay there for the entire boss duration, and most case scenarios you'll be fine. Or you might get hit, but you won't take too much damage. Now, the second attack, the lasers, the beams, whatever you call them. Throughout the entire boss, this attack stays. It starts at the first phase and continues throughout the second and third. Random beams will show up on the map, which are pretty much literally the easiest attack to dodge in the entire boss. I literally couldn't name anything more easier to dodge in the boss, other than the bones, which will be in the second phase, which I will be talking about now. But before that, I'll show you a clip right here as to what I mean by the beams. And the way you can dodge these is using the murderer's knife. I will talk about that at the end of when I finish talking about the phase attacks. All right. The second phase. Now, this is where things get a little tricky, but still isn't too bad. So, in this phase, he gains 2 new attacks. One is a passive attack that always just keeps on going and going and going. It won't stop until you kill the boss. And that is the bones coming from the sides of the maps. Now, this is surprisingly not that hard to take a track of. Low-key, really easy to dodge. Before I say all that, let me show you a clip right here. And essentially, these are gonna be like the things you won't be focusing on much in the boss when you should be focusing on it in the boss that much because the bones are sort of problematic, but sort of not. It depends on what sort of situation you're in the whole fight. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, the second new attack from the whole boss, and that is the Wall of Doom. So essentially, what the Wall of Doom is, it's just a whole move inspired off of the original Under.rng CTI boss fight, where a whole big ass wall shows up, and basically its main purpose there is to just blind you, but at the same time, it's there to like, I don't know, to make you move on purpose because the wall rotates the wall rotates counterclockwise. Actually, no. Yeah, counterclockwise, and it's tricky to dodge. It's not tricky to dodge, but you'll understand what I mean. Here's a clip showing how the attack looks like. And the reason why this attack is a whole problem is because it basically corners you in a way. Because let's say CTI starts spamming all attacks at once, like the axe slashes, the bones coming in multiple directions, and the beam attacks. You're pretty much guaranteed to take damage unless if you have a really good gaming chair, which I probably doubt because no one has a really good gaming chair in Sans RNG games. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the second phase. And now we're going on to the third phase. Alright. Alright, so the third phase. In the third phase, he only really gains one attack. Now, it wouldn't be much if all the other attacks from the previous phases weren't included in the third phase, but here we are. The third phase includes new attacks. Blocks coming up from the ground. Here's a clip showing that. Here's a clip. And essentially, this attack is pretty easy to dodge. A lot of people would struggle with this because, again, the Wall of Doom is the main problem with the boss. That and the axe slashes. It's pretty cancerous when all the attacks are combined. You're pretty much guaranteed to take damage, even more in the third phase. And in the third phase, you're most likely gonna die. I wouldn't say you're in the third phase, you're most likely gonna die. And I believe it'll give a lot of people a run for their money during this in CTI's third phase, because personally, I haven't died when I fought CTI in the first and second phase. I did both, but in the third phase, that's where I really struggled. Because of the many attacks that CTI was spamming. Alright, so now let's move on to the passive abilities that CTI has. Actually, before I move on to CTI passives, I would like to talk about basically how to fight the boss. Simply said, you just have to click on him. But he does have a click cooldown, which eventually which would automatically make him take a while to kill, of course. That, and he also has a passive ability where you're basically unable to attack him due to this passive ability, which I will explain now. Okay, so CTI has two passive abilities. First, I'll explain the first one that I was previously mentioning, which is parry mode. So essentially, what parry mode is that CTI summons like a sort of, I guess you could say like a respawn icon below him. That, and there's this like purple ring around CTI that, circles him. And basically, once these things are like around or near CTI, it basically means he's in parry mode, which means you can't attack him no matter what you do. And And the only way you can really fight this, you can't, is you have to wait. Because at some point, he does get stunned after he unleashes a couple of attacks. You might get lucky and he might get stunned earlier than usual, or you might get unlucky and he might get stunned later than usual. And basically, it's the one moment where you can actually like attack the boss. And sometimes the stun thing, it lasts for a little longer, it lasts for less. If it lasts for less, minimum damage you'll be able to do is 15 to 20 damage. If it lasts for more, maximum amount of damage you can do is 40 seconds, including the grace period. The grace period is where like he activates his parry mode again, but like during the first few couple of seconds you can still hit him. Keep that in mind during CTI. And yeah, now I will be explaining the second passive. The second passive is Karma. Uh, Simply said, like even Undertale has this. What Karma is where if you get hit by any sort of attacks that CTI unleashes, you take tick damage. Depending on what attack you get hit with, which by the way I don't know, I haven't tested that out properly, so yeah. The minimum amount of damage you'll receive is 3, but the maximum amount of damage you'll receive is 6. The reason this is a problem is because so you have passive regen during the whole fight, and basically this karma temporarily, just for a few couple of seconds cancels the regen out. I wouldn't say it's too much of a trouble, but like at the same time, if you're getting bum rushed by CTI with multiple attacks, then it definitely becomes a problem for you and for everyone in general. And yeah, and that is pretty much everything CTI has. Actually, before that, let me show you just a few couple of clips as to what I mean with both passives. Here is the parry thing. Here's an image. And here is the karma thing I was talking about. Here's a video of that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for what CTI has. What attacks CTI has. I may have not properly explained how to dodge some attacks, so about that, I'm sorry. As for the technique I mentioned about Murderous Knife, basically the weapon, you can use weapons, but like the weapons don't do damage to the boss itself. But there's this one weapon that makes you dash very far away, which is called Murderous Knife. It's a starter item, and you could use that to your advantage to get across the map easily or get across the boss easily. It helps out a lot during the axe slashes, and I really suggest you use it during the whole boss. And yeah. Anywho, we'll try not to make this video too long. Hope you guys watched my video fully, and I hope this guide was useful. And yeah, there is going to be an update review of the new Under.rng update coming soon, and hope you guys will watch that. It won't be coming out too soon, but it will be soon. And yeah, anywho, see you guys, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Doesn't seem safe. Yeah, I'm afraid I might.